anyway, but I want to go to
Yeah.
Kate. Kate, you had a question.
Yeah, just to ask again about like the second part of the question based on your response. So it sounds like anger tends to be thought-based. And then I was thinking, well, then is passion too? But then as you were talking, I also then started to think, well, can't any emotion be like both? Like, for
They
example,
both are both. You're absolutely right.
like fear, like I thought about fear, for example, like fear can definitely be thought-based. Like we have these thoughts in this narrative, but then fear can also be like pure and instinctual. So then it got me thinking, is that just like any emotion where anger could
Yes.
be pure or thought-based? Okay.
Yes. And see, so the question is like, what's generating it? That's why I did this whole top down bottom. It's like, what's generating it? Okay. So if someone like is disrespectful to you, okay, you allow energy in, someone's disrespectful, they violate your boundaries, and you're just like, heart chakra is just like anger. It's like triggered, it's angry. So at that point, so there it is. You allowed energy in, you were disrespected, you feel anger. In this case, it's a pure feeling. It's not reactionary. It's a pure feeling. Okay. And then your call for action is back off, buddy. You know, and then the way Diana talked to the doctor is actually appropriate. I mean, that's what you need. You need that young, strong energy then. But see, so anger then is the pure feeling. That's why I don't like the secondary emotion. It's like, it just depends is the mind generating angry? It's like, you can tell, the more I think about this is the more pissed I'm getting. That's a real sign of a thought generated feeling. Okay. Versus it just is like, no, I was really open, minding my own damn business. And then he came over and decided to whatever, hit on me and whatever. And it's just is like, and then it goes down to your call for action. It's just like, what the fuck, buddy? Like, back off. Like, come on, we're at a freaking, class, I'm not at the bar, give me a break, and it's like, it's strong. And then in that case, versus, like if, with Diana's example, it's like the more she's thinking about how incompetent these people are, probably the more pissed she's getting. That's when anger, it's not helpful. It's a thought generated feeling. Okay. Now the same thing can happen with passion. Okay. Passion is often, when you're allowing energy in, like in a way, your call for action is like passion. Okay. It's like, it's got a lot of passion energy. Okay. But if I'm like fantasizing about something, whatever, where I'm like the hero, or maybe it's a sexual fantasy or whatever, or maybe maybe you're reading one of those trashy romance novels or whatever else. And then you're starting to feel passion. That's a little bit of a thought. My mind is thinking naughty things and now I'm passionate. It's like, and it's not wrong. I mean, as long as you know what you're doing, I mean, whatever floats your boat. I mean, there's lots of people in our culture that love doing that, and there's nothing wrong with it. However, it's not a pure feeling. It's a thought generated feeling. Versus if I'm just allowing energy in and it's just like, I want more of this. I want to go talk to that guy. He seems really cool. And you're fired up about it, then passion's a pure feeling. And fear can be the same way. It can be instinctual, like you said, or fear is often a thought generated feeling. Anger is often, but not always. And especially for you women who have really been conditioned to not be angry and not express your anger. Sometimes anger is a really, really pure feeling that you need to voice. And your call for action is like, back off. And then it's got that strong It's got that strong energy, because remember the call for action, it gave you the energy, just like Diana. If she drops that energy down, okay, then her call for action is going to give her what to say, how to say it, the tone of voice to use. All of that's going to come instinctually from that call for action. Same with if Kate, someone's hitting on Kate while she's going to class, it's all right there, and she's going to know what to say, and she's not going to be like, excuse me, but really, I would really prefer if you didn't do that. No, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be like, back off, or like, what are you doing? Or like, it's like, it could be like, get back the fuck up. Like, that's not what we're here for. I'm getting a lot of political calls here. So it's like, so that energy is from there. And so you're absolutely right. That's a real epiphany for you, Kate, to realize that the different feelings can come either way. And that's why you got to figure out what's generating them. Where are they being, what's generating the feeling?
Yeah, because I was actually the one that wrote that question. And I think at the time of that question, I somehow was thinking like, oh, those negative feelings that we get are thought based, and like the more positive ones are like, the pure feeling. But the more like you talked, and Diana provided her story, and the more you guys were talking, it helped create that that insight to me. So thank you for that.
And this is where like psychology, especially pop psychology, is really done a disservice, because anger is a second, fear and anger are secondary feelings, right? Not, which, what does that do? It just reinforces that women aren't supposed to be angry,
Yeah.
And so it's like, no, sometimes it just depends. Sometimes anger is the pure feeling. Sometimes the call for action is, and the feeling is like, I want to rip his head off. Now I'm not going to act on that. But it's like, see, it's not all nicey nice and spiritual. It's like, sometimes it's like, it's strong, and it's strong for a reason, because it's saying you need to use strong energy. This isn't time to be nice, Kate. This is time to be like, leave me the fuck alone, Kate. Because he's going to feel the energy, or she is going to feel the energy, not just the words. They're going to feel the energy behind our words. So our call for action, it has a word, it has a content part of it, but it has an energetic component. And what do you know? Then probably well, I'm pulling these numbers out of my butt, but it's like probably like 90% energy. And that's why, I'm using words, like 4-letter words to make the point, because those words, I'm not saying you should use the F word a lot, but it's like, but that word has a lot of energy behind it, right? When you use it, like, back the fuck off, it's like, it's like, it has a lot, and they feel that energy. And that's what, and they're going to respond to the energy. If you're like, excuse me, but please, you're violating my boundaries, he's probably, it's probably going to turn him on more, it's like, he needs to know that you mean business. And it's like, if he does this again, it's not going to go well for him. It's like, and he feels that energy, and like, what's that expression? That's not my favorite, but it's like, with, nothing more than the woman scorned, or whatever. It's like, when you've got that raw, don't fuck with me energy that comes, the mama bear, Diane and I call it the mama bear energy. You're messing with the mama bear's cubs. When that energy comes out, and it comes out of anyone's mouth, but especially a woman's mouth, Mr. Rico Suave at the bar is going to go running with his tail between his legs like a little dog, so it's like, so just know that that's part of your personal power, but you only access that personal power when you embrace your call for action. And you got to get over the fact that anger is not always bad. Anger is just energy. It's the appropriate energy. When someone violates your space, anger is the appropriate energy. And think about the emotion. It gives you energy. It like gives you, it's like, because remember I said, down in the solar plate, the call for action. It's like it's generating energy. It has its own life. It has its own vibration. It's almost like a life essence of its own. And then people feel your words and it resonates with them. And they, so anyway, long answer to a short question. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.